Hey everyone, I am so happy you're here. I see you all are in the chat room and are really just vibrant. And we are excited. How excited are we to really learn how to make creative, authentic content while traveling? I know you all have been watching my reels and wanting to know how it's done, how I make it look so easy. I promise you, it's simpler than you think. And that's what we're going to get into today, the mindset around creating authentic content and being creative and doing the simple things because you honestly don't need to overwork yourself when we are in this new era. Not at all. We don't believe that. So I created some frameworks for you guys today. I've been testing out for the last 3 years with my clients as well. Over 100 people have gone through this and they have been creating authentic content. They feel good. I think that's the most important part about everything is you feeling good, creating evergreen content and using a strategy that's never going to fail you because it's backed by neuroscience, by human psychology. We go really deep into research and the behavior economics of all this. So, all the deep things and the small, intricate, analytical, data driven things we think about, and we create a simple framework for you to just honestly go about your life and start building. So, let's get right into this. I want to know where you all are from. I am based in Mississauga, recording this right now at the headquarters of House of Gold. And so I am excited to be joining you here today. Let me know where you're from. What time is it there? How's the weather treating you? I really want to learn about different locations because you already know I travel a lot. And my goal is to ultimately put on these workshops in person to support all of you beautiful people really building in this AI era that's going on. Okay, so my name's Golden J. Johnson. If you're new here, if not, let me know in the chat as well. But we are here to guide you. My firm is here to support you. We've been positioned in the Vanguard, the Guardian. We have partnered with government startups and organizations, the city of Mississauga. I am so proud to be a part of the entrepreneurial landscape here, really helping and building the foundation for our future. Mississauga is a new city in Canada, in Ontario, Canada. And so I'm just really proud to be of the history here. Real long, I mean, you know me, like the details are in front of you. If you ever have any questions, let me know. But I'm just here to yap about this amazing course and what you're going to get from it. So, what this actually is, it's designed for action. Okay, everyone? Action. We are here to take action today. And it's very simple and very small. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't think you need a million things. Just walk with me, okay? Walk with me, talk with me. So this is an applied master class. You're going to see how I use the content to clients to create content, not necessarily script. We're not scripting today. We're just looking at the visuals, looking at the vibe, looking at the nuance of what it is to create content while traveling. And so this is actually a field study from Zurich, Switzerland, me demonstrating this, me demonstrating the method of what that looks like. Not necessarily going into detail, but just giving you the vibe. I find when change happens, we really need to manage how we feel about certain steps we're going to be taking. And so I feel like a vibe check is really good. So this is a vibe check course. For those who don't know, it's just something to get you in momentum, get you in the visuals, get you in the focus of stepping into this timeline of creation and practical frameworks for moving from content to client and learning how and what your clients need. We go deeper in other courses. So this one, again, vibe check. We're just showing you how it's like, but we're also still going to take action. So you're going to learn how to create authentic content. You're going to learn how to balance the work, the travel. Like, what does that look like? How am I able to go to different parts of the world, still get my work done and create content on top of that all by myself? I don't have a team, right? Talking about that is going to be number one priority. I'm going to share with you guys today. And then we're going to learn how to turn everyday experiences into positioning signals. Like, are you in the right place at the right time? We want you to be there, especially when it comes to being in different parts of the world. Okay. So this is for action. Get your notebooks, get your paper, get your screens out. If you are too laptop girly like me, you probably have one laptop open or your phone open and then a laptop in front of you. That's a great setup, but really support how you support yourself in taking action when you're receiving new information. Put yourself in that position right now so we can elevate you and build some credibility. Now, who this is for, let me know in the chat where you're from, but also let me know what you do. You are here for a meaning. You're here for a reason. And the fact that you're here means that this is for you. And I want to get to know you more. So, this was created for the intention of professionals building a personal brand with intention, with integrity, with like, there's some people out there that like keep things close to their heart and they really care about what they're doing. They're really passionate about what they're doing. This is for you. Creators who want their content to attract aligned opportunities globally, this is for you. Entrepreneurs turning their expertise into influence and clients, this is for you. Okay. So if you're starting from scratch and you have not done anything like this in your life, I don't recommend this because there are some certain traits that you have to pick up. But at the same time, if you're one of those people that start something, learn something, and go all in, then this is definitely something that's going to benefit you 100%. And so before we get in, we have some frameworks in this presentation, and it's a part of my research. And through House of Gold, we make sure that our materials are protected. So please keep the materials within the forum, within your own personal study. Do not give this to AI. You do not have permission. No part of this publication may be used to train, fine tune, or populate artificial intelligence system, databases, or automated tools without prior written authorization from the House of Gold. So if there is no letterhead stamped with House of Gold with a specific code on it that only we know and we can navigate and keep documented, then you cannot use this content for those things. Okay. So I'm going to read the chat right now and I'm going to learn what you guys all do. I see a content creator. I see travel influencer. I see someone who's a remote worker, who's a nomad. I see e-commerce store. Love this. You guys are all digital. You guys are online. That's great because this is exactly where we want to be. Great. Let's get into it. I want to talk about the problems, and there's common patterns that happen. Okay. Common patterns is when you're posting without strategic direction. If you say yes or no to these things, then this is going to give you a real audit on, do you have a problem with this specific thing, okay, with content creation, or is it something else? So we really want to diagnose you before we get into anything to make sure you're not wasting your time and hearing information where you need to learn information prior to the step before. Maybe you're ahead and you don't even belong here. You got to get some more support from different parts of our library. So definitely let's start to audit. Again, posting without strategic direction. Have you been doing this? You probably done it on and off, a week, a month. You probably did those challenges, but you're not consistent in it. You probably finished one, but now you're like, okay, now what? Right? Another common pattern is following trends instead of building authority. You're just honestly following what people are doing, what you think looks successful. And ultimately, can I be honest with you? I've invested thousands of dollars in these types of things, and I realized that a lot of them are just following the trend, or they're just creating the vibe of building something, but there's a lot of missing nuances when I personally took a lot of courses. And so that's why this exists. So, not to knock anyone, everything exists here for everyone. So, we all have our own avenue of learning. I just didn't see them as authority building, as helping me create longevity, as taking me out of the side hustle like matrix. And so we want to get into one where it's longevity, where we're building once and we're selling over and over and over again. That's my goal. So the next common pattern I see is creating content that attracts the wrong audience. Another one is producing visibility that does not convert. So you're creating things, but it's just not converting. And you're thinking, well, I'm just going to keep posting and then it's going to blow up one day. No, none of these are going to give you content. So content without positioning creates attention, but does not create opportunity. And ultimately, this is what many people believe. They need to steal every moment. They need to treat every meal, every sightseeing object or some statue somewhere. They need to turn it into some type of production. And this is a common patterns that it falls under. It's like creating because it's there, creating because someone else did it. We don't do that when we're traveling, okay? I'll put that out there right now. We actually do not do this at all. We're going to step out of that if you do, so keep listening. I want to know right now, has anyone identified themselves with any of the lists that I gave them? If you have, definitely write that down, because just so you know, everyone here gets a one-on-one refining session. So all the notes you got from today is going to be reviewed, and we can definitely use it to build your blueprint, right? And so write down these answers, like take this seriously. Like you have someone who's serious that's going to help you build your business. You have an advisor here right now. Use that moment to participate in the frameworks that you probably missed, that you weren't educated in, or you didn't upgrade any thing in your life to like tune into that, right? We all have challenges in our life that takes our attention away. So there are some things that we're lacking in, me included. So just make sure that you're present and you're here, and you're making sure that you are taking this seriously, because ultimately you're going to be a global citizen soon. You're going to be traveling around the world. You're going to be needing to understand, how do you make content? How do you live your life? How do you feel balanced and neutral and not overwhelmed, right? This is a lifestyle we're stepping into. Working and wandering, it's a lifestyle. So I hope you're enjoying the little nuggets that we have going on now. This is something for someone who has a unique mindset, and I'm so excited for what you're going to turn yourself into after this course. So, many people believe travel content requires constant filming. And I went out to a refining suite with one of my clients. We went for 3 days. And ultimately, what we do in a refining suite, everyone is different. But what we do is we stay in a suite, separate rooms, of course, but in this time it was in the same suite with a 2 bedroom, just because that was something that was available for us, because I was going to help them create their content, and they were completely fine with my presence being there. They have been my client for over 5 years now, so we have grown a professional relationship that we can stay in the same presidential suites, but obviously have different rooms and our own privacy, and schedule times to meet up in between to work. And so when that all happened, they were really overwhelmed. When we first went out, we landed. They were looking at every street, and they're taking out their phone, like, oh, do you think we should get this? Do you think we should get that? And I'm just like walking, and they're like this child. They're so excited to be there. They're looking at everything, every moment. And they had this big energy. And then after a while, they're like, Golden, I really want to like film everything. When are we going to start? And I'm like, I love that you're so super like attentive right now. You're so inspired. However, what we're doing right now is scoping the whole entire area. And when I told them this over lunch, because it took some time to get to lunch and we were walking, this is when they said this thing to me, which is, when everything becomes content, nothing feels meaningful. This is the outcome they came towards when we were having lunch. They finally understood that they actually don't want to be creating content and feeling pressured at every moment, trying to like take every moment on camera. It quickly turns into travel production, and that's not why we're here. When we're in the refining suite and we're working and we're wandering, that's not why we're here. We're here to be and to expand our ideas, to get grounded in our strategy, right? Our next steps. And guess what? The beautiful space is the cherry on top that's going to really elevate the experience you are creating for your own clients. So, in reality, the best content really comes from forcing the camera. It comes from real experiences. And most people think content exists to get attention. But quickly, my client was like, no, actually, when everything becomes content, nothing feels meaningful. And that's exactly what they were feeling in their past trips. After the trip we had, they said, Golden, this is the best trip I ever took in my life, and I got work done. And we were laughing about that for the longest time. So, this is where we're going to get into balancing two modes of the principle. We have the work mode, which is focus, creation, and responsibilities. And then we have the wander mode, which is exploration and presence. Content appears in the two. So, we want to make sure this is balanced. The key is balancing them at the same time. And so, I've traveled to over, I couldn't even tell you how many countries. Of course, right now, though, I want to get up into the hundreds, but I'm definitely not there yet. But I definitely traveled to at least 20 countries in my lifetime and worked from them as well. And I want you to have a little reflection right now. I want you to think about when someone reads your content, do they clearly understand you? And where in the world would they understand you? This is extremely important. Where in the world would someone understand your content? Because just because your content doesn't belong in your local environment or community right now doesn't mean it should not exist. I want you to start thinking globally right now. Okay, I want you to start thinking of three things. Who is it for? What problem does it solve? And why does it matter? I want you to write that down. Take some time right now, pause the video, and really think about that. The architecture of creating legacy content is something that is evergreen, that doesn't really expire, right? You're creating this content to sell one thing over and over again. And when people try to create content during travel, they often feel overwhelmed. They overplan, they overfilm, they overthink. One time I went traveling and I literally just recorded everything and I just didn't know what to do with it after. I'm still sitting on that. And I think it's because of the emotional connection I had with it when I was traveling. Not that my trip was bad or anything. It was just really overwhelming. And I was really trying to like keep up with this persona, this brand that I see everyone leaning towards or engaging with online. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this because it's not how I want to build my foundation. I don't want to build it on nervousness or overwhelm and burnt out. I want to build it on peace, ease, grace. And this removes actually my authenticity from the experience when I am in production mode, right? No, we don't want that at all. But what we do want to know is, who is it for? Who are you creating this content for? What problem does it solve and why it matters? So for me, as you saw in the first three slides, you see what we're doing now? We're building your own masterclass. So that last three slides should go in the beginning of any masterclass you're creating from the contents. And again, we have courses that help you piece all this together, but this is one part of your masterclass that you really want to get clear on. So if content then becomes a priority, again, the experience just disappears. There's content and then there's experience. What do you want your clients to feel? Do you want them to feel, the gap, the staginess? You want them to feel that this was staged, or do you want to invite them into experience? You're here because you want to invite them into your experience. You're here to create that lifestyle. Your content should answer the questions buyers already have when they see you, right? You ever meet someone and you have like maybe a few questions in your head before like really talking to them and you want to know a few things? That is what your content should be talking about as well. The very first questions that someone has when they come upon your page, upon your brand, what experience? Because we can't always speak it out, right? It's the visuals first. It's the content. So what experience do you want people to feel when they interact with your things? Okay? So you guys agree with me so far? If you are, really happy. We have a few more slides to go, about maybe 10 more minutes, but I do want this to be thorough and set you up on the foundation of what creating content is. Just a little check-in. The next few slides or the examples I show you from my trip in Zurich is coming up. And so that's going to be a great visual for you to have, just to show you how easy and authentic it is going to be. So just a little check-in with you all. How are you all doing today? Let me know if you have any questions going on. I know you're probably super focused. Some people are like so focused on the webinar that they just need to get all the information and then they have questions. So be sure to reach out at concierge at houseofgold.com, because that's where you're going to find your support and get any guidance through the next steps of what's going on. So let's talk about the Work and Wander fundamentals. I'm going to get into the first part, which is the work part. This is where you want to structure your day. So I'll go back to my client, because honestly, that trip was so much fun. But you want to structure your day. So how we started off the morning was we woke up, we went for a morning walk, we did our stretches, we just gathered, like walked around the hotel, not going too far. We had our own space as well. So we had our morning set. And then we have a list. So during breakfast, I was like, hey, so what do you want to work on today? How are you feeling? Right? I'm getting into their content creation aura, because there's some days you actually don't want to be on camera, but there's always seven other things you can do that aligns with content. So I want you to be aware of that. And that's what we figure out in the refining suite is, okay, you're not feeling like this today. Okay, this is what you should do then. And this is how we use neuroscience, how we use a lot of strategies to keep you at peace, but still building at the same time, still being productive. Again, if you don't feel like making content one day, don't force yourself, but there are seven different ways to do that. And again, if you want to learn more about it, get deeper into this course, because that's where we talk about it. Reach out to your specialist and ask your questions. But let's talk about how we move on throughout the day. So throughout the day is now we wander. We have our breakfast, we, get dressed, and then we go out and we just wander. We walk around. We literally act like we live there. Go for some lunch, check out some stores, like just walk, right? Just be. Maybe hop on in an Uber and make it take us to a random monument and see what aligns with us there, because ultimately you want to place yourself in environments that your clients are, that you want to be, conferences, networking events, top restaurants, top lounges, like museums, whatever it is. Definitely have an awareness of that. And by the way, one of our magazines, we actually talk a lot about where to go, where to work. So definitely tap into that. But overall, you want to think about this, right? You want to think about, where do you want to go? You don't have to necessarily create content, but where do you want to go? Where do you want to exist in? So that's what we kind of did. And we actually eventually went to go to the town square. We got to see everything, from just small businesses to fashion, because they were a fashion designer. So we did go into the fashion districts, look at textiles. We even went to this really fun networking event where it was a bunch of local fashion designers just networking. And even though we weren't from there, she made some great contacts just from that. So that's part of wandering, by the way. So in the evening, we did some reflections on the day and we're like, okay, how do you want to wrap up this day? Because now this trip is going to set up how you're going to create content, the vibe, it's your mindset, it's where you're at. How did your first day start? And a lot of people, when they don't have me around or don't have a specialist around, they're like really doing the wrong things. They have such horrible experiences. You probably tried this before and you're like, I'm not doing that again. It's because you didn't have a specialist with you. So that's why some people, they love to do the refining suite and they love to book the Work and Wander series, where we have someone go with you, reputable, professional, certified. Honestly, it's right now it's me. But in the future, I do want to have a conglomerate of people, very exclusive, very, very private, very professional, like curated. Like that's the vision. So right now it's me. I go with my clients and I do it and I really give them the one-on-one breakdown. This prevents burnout. This prevents the over planning. This prevents anything in the past that you experience when it comes to stress related work and planning and traveling. And you know what? When it comes to your content, client really say no because they dislike your offer. They actually say no to your content because they're like, is this even for me? And because you don't know how to create that experience, record it doesn't get answered. And they'll think like, will this work in my situation? How does this actually help? Those are some questions you want to start to consider answering, because content shouldn't interrupt the experience. It should actually follow it. If content disappears and we actually just be in the moment, and then you bring in the component of a camera, of someone guiding you, you can create some evergreen content authentically. So let's talk about the mistakes that creators make. Most creators try to capture everything, like I said, every street, and without realizing it, it turns into a production. You'll have the experience, you have a camera, you have your overthinking, and then you're exhausted by the end of the day. You actually stop wandering and you just literally stay in your hotel and start scrolling. That's what my client said before they were due. They actually booked the trip. They felt so overwhelmed. By the time they got to the hotel, they literally stayed in their hotel and was just scrolling the rest of the night, the rest of the trip, because they were just so exhausted. So this is something that really will prevent that from happening. And so let's get into how I wandered. So I'll talk about a personal experience, entered how I entered wandered mode. In Zurich, I walked the streets, I observed the environment, I was very present. This is where real moments appear. And you're gonna see in the content coming up that I created on my Instagram, if you just go to like my Switzerland section, you'll see how I was applying this in a very intentional way. It would look so easy and it didn't look like this big production, right? People can see through the big production, especially if that's not your brand and that's not your energy, that's not your mindset. If that's not who you are, if you don't have that personality, that's okay. This could be a better alternative for you because this is where you're going to notice stuff before capturing. You're going to be present. You're not going to a place and setting up all your cameras and not really being present. You're going to think of, is this a space I want my clients to experience? This is a space I want my clients to feel like I really like this, right? Good content quietly resolves the following doubts. There's a feeling that's created in your content that's going to make people feel resonant with you. So let's take a pause right now. I want you to write down the three most common questions clients ask you before hiring. I want you to write down the three most common questions people have about what you do. Maybe you're not answering that properly. If people are still asking you certain questions, it's because your content is not answering it. And those questions are going to be your next piece of content. So we just got our topics down. So if you need to pause this and take a moment and just write it down for those who are watching the replay. We're going to take 30 seconds right now in the chat. I'm just going to pause this and then we're going to get back into recording the webinar. I'm reading you guys' comments and it's so amazing. I love it. Thank you for the compliments on the brand design. This is something we do for clients as well. I'm telling you guys, just check in the refining suite. You'll get everything you need to really set yourself up, to really go deep into that one offer and then set it up to be sold again and again and again, because that's why we're here, right? Thank you so much. Okay, let's get into the next slides. So this is a standout rule for everything we talked about before. Capture content only when something genuinely catches your attention, okay? And I want you to think about the attention of your brand. You're here because you are your brand. There is a part of you in your brand, and that's okay. There's going to be other businesses and business owners who can really just start a business and sell it and exit, and they're like good, like they are not attached to it. But this specific module, for those who are really sticky with their vision, sticky with their product and what they want to build. And that's okay. I want this content to really make you feel seen and make you figure out how you can genuinely build your brand with your mindset, with your vision. And this is the standout rule: only capture what genuinely stands out. It's very simple. Very, very simple. You do not want to catch anything that doesn't align with your brand. Just because you saw another account do it doesn't mean you should do it. Just because you saw another business get away with it doesn't mean you should do it. That's their strategy. That's their rule. So for your rule when you're traveling now is you're only going to capture what actually stands out. You're not going to take it because, oh, everyone took it. And maybe you do take it, but it doesn't mean you have to post it, right? So this content keeps things meaningful. It keeps things easy to work with when it's time to edit and create content because you're genuinely taking pictures of what you like. And this is what you should not do. Listen up. Do not do what's trending, not what you think will perform, and do not catch only what you see in the moment. Like, actually think, right? That's what these walks are for. When you're wandering, think, be in the moment. Think about the experience you want to show your clients. Think about the visuals you want to bring in and pull into the experience. Think about that when you're wandering, okay? So many creators feel pressure to follow the trends, and I understand. Someone just said that in the chat. They're like, I feel so scared to not follow trends. Trends are a great blueprint for me. They're a great blueprint because your mind needs structure and needs familiarity. And because it saw someone else do it, it's like, okay, that's proven. That means I can do it. But it doesn't mean that's always proven. I want you to avoid the trend pressure. I don't want you to ask anymore, what should I post today? I want you to ask, what question does my audience still have before they can say yes to my stuff? What questions might they have? Maybe you sell a product and they want to know, is it available in blue, black, or green? Maybe you need to create a post on that. Something so simple, right? This question is going to expose the most simplest, powerful question that's going to help you build sales long term. What question does my audience still have before they can say yes? Okay, trends fade quickly and we don't want to fade, we want to build. So let's talk about the insight of things, the architecture of selling with content. Structuring content that converts has a simple structure, guys. Okay, what I'm sharing with you is literally data from thousands of businesses over the last 2 decades, neuroscience based. Like, this is proven. Okay, it's very simple. I'm going to say in the most simplest way. Okay, points here for you to read, but start with a real problem people experience. The real problem I saw people experiencing is they didn't know how to work and wander. They didn't know how. They didn't know how to pack their bags, even though they had a remote job or they had a job that didn't really need them in the office every day, or they have a home business. They didn't know how to get up and just work and wander. And I'm like, I want to teach people how to do that. That's literally who I am because I am a global citizen. I don't believe in just having a life in a country. I believe in having lives in many countries, lots of friends, right? Lots of dynamics. So that's one thing. Another thing is explain what most people understand about it and or misunderstand about it. Explain what most people misunderstand about it. And what the misunderstanding with working wandering is, oh, I needed this money, I need to have this and that. And I'm showing you, no, you don't. All you really need, which you're going to find out in a few slides, is a few items, and you book that ticket and you go to a hotel and you bring money for food. We're not talking about going on excursions and doing all the touristy things. We're talking about changing our environment so we can tap into our ideas and create beautiful experiences for our clients when they interact with our brand online. Right? People want to feel movement. And if you're in the same space all the time doing the same thing, it's not going to be aligned with clients that want abundance, that want more, that will pay high ticket for that offer, right? We want people with high tickets, and people with high tickets, they know what traveling is all about. So if you're traveling, they're going to know, oh, that person knows something. That person has taken themselves out of a level of mindset and has tapped into a timeline that is like mine. Right? That's how your clients are thinking. I see they travel, I travel. That means I can trust them because there's something about you that's relatable to them. So you want to also just explain what most people misunderstand about it. And like I said, people think they need to have money, they need to have all these stuff. No, you don't. Another thing Work and Wander solves is sharing the insight that changes how you see it. Right now, we spent the first half an hour talking about how Work and Wander is, what is it, the foundation, like the insight, the lifestyle. This is changing how you see content, right? This is changing how you're creating content, what you're thinking of when you're recording content. These are the three things you need to focus on when it comes to creating evergreen content online. But I digress. Let's get into why we're here, which is the application of Zurich and the content. So I really hope this structure influence you to see things a different way, a more elevated way, where your clients, high ticket clients, are at, and you can get access to them easily. So this is not where the work ends. Today we explored a simple shift, right? Content that answers real client questions, builds clarity. And if you want to explore the full structure behind this approach, I've organized a framework in a short workbook, and that's called From Content to Clients. Inside, you'll find exercises for identifying hidden buyer questions that you can answer in content form. Um, You'll find structured frameworks for pre selling content, for seeing if you should release it on that capacity. You're going to find some AI prompts for refining your messaging, your scripts, your captions, all of that good stuff. Everyone gets a AI agent for this part. So that's a fun part. Anyone who purchases this book gets an AI agent to support them. So you're welcome to explore if you'd like to continue the work. I encourage you to start with the exercise we did today, identifying the three questions clients ask before hiring you, and turn those into your next piece of content. You can get this on Amazon. So this book is available on Amazon. I see in the chat where you can buy it Amazon, and you can buy directly off the site houseofgold.com. And by then, there's probably even more stuff in the library. So check that out and get your starter kit. This is literally what I use. A tripod looks similar to this. Reach out to get access to our exclusive creator content kits. If you feel like you don't know what you need to start, definitely reach out and we'll support you. We look for the most simplest tools. We don't want you spending a lot of money because we understand the flight tickets and things add up. So everything here is affordable, it's reasonable, and it makes sense at the end of the day. Okay, so that was me with a tripod and my mic. That was in Lucerne, Switzerland. And the topic of that video was introducing House of Gold. And the key here is to set up in different locations and remember the key topics from the work mode of your trip. That is the strategy here. So that work mode we have with the list, the questions we answered, now we're just going to go around the city, put our tripod up, and literally answer them. Everything that we've done here is that simple. Every time you're in a new location, just set up and record it, one line or one answer to your question. That's literally what I've done here. So it wasn't meant to be a content day on this specific day. I just had my tripod and my mic just cuz. But I'm happy I brought it with me, and I'm happy that it was so compact and easy to use. Again, a tripod and a mic, it's very small. And between conversations and coffee on the lake and Lake Zurich and going to Lake Lucerne as well, these moments popped up where I just popped my tripod in an alley and that became content. At the end of the day, it's not only about talent, it's about refusal. Refusal to quit, refusal to burn out, refusal to give in to your strongest excuse. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's not only about talent. Looks like this, guys, but you can see the full version on Instagram if you have access to this deck. Refusal to quit, to my members, refusal to burn out, refusal to give in to your strongest excuse. There's so much people here. At the end of the day, it's not only about talent. Before that, it's about refusal. Refusal to quit, refusal to burn out, refusal to give in to your strongest excuse. just because there's a lot of people. I've
At the
moved
end of the
because there was
day,
someone
it's not
coming
only
through and I
about
wanted to get
talent,
out of their way. And
it's
so I
about
did that, and then
refusal.
I was like holding it, and you can see that I'm pushing.
Refusal to quit,
However, look at the final
refusal
edit.
to
Very
burn
simple. I
out,
just cut out that part, and it was just a video
refusal
of me
to give in
talking on my
to your
phone, just like
strongest
FaceTiming
excuse.
someone. So this is the light
At the
approach
end
that
of
I
the day,
use.
it's not
Short
only
video
about
clips,
talent,
simple photos, natural movement.
it's
And
about
I totally
refusal.
avoid complicated setups. Like, this is
Refusal
why
to
I
quit,
kind of gave up on my
refusal
podcast
to burn out,
when it came to doing it in a studio, because
refusal
I just
to give
personally
in
didn't have the
to your
capacity.
strongest
I
excuse.
understand film sets and the amount of people
At
needed and
the
the
end of the
teams
day,
needed, and it
it's not
honestly just
only
got me
about
down. It just
talent,
reminded me of how alone
it's
I was in
about
this content creation
refusal.
phase. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to feel this way. How do I
Refusal to
change this? I'm
quit,
like, what if we just take our
refusal
tripod and a
to burn
mic and
out,
we just do it ourselves? Like, you don't see
refusal
people
to give
traveling
in
in big
to your
groups just
strongest
for someone to
excuse.
carry a tripod and a mic, right?
At
So it's
the end
all
of the
about the
day,
tools you
it's
use.
not
Sometimes
only
you're just
about
using
talent,
too many tools, and
it's
it's
about
reminding you of a
refusal.
big team that you'll eventually have if that's in
Refusal
line
to
with
quit,
you. But it's
refusal
gonna
to
remind you of
burn
a big
out,
team you'll have, but in the moment you don't have it, and you're like,
refusal
like,
to give
should I
in
even do
to
this?
your
Nobody's
strongest
around. Like,
excuse.
those are things I actually went
At the
through.
end of the
But
day, it's not only
regardless,
about
I
talent,
was like, you know what? I'm
it's
just gonna take my
about
tripod.
refusal.
I'm gonna take my microphone. And I'm gonna flight. Period.
Refusal to
If you want to know
quit,
more about this trip, there's so
refusal
much
to
details and
burn out,
nuances to it. You can head over to refiningforsuccess.de
refusal to
and
give in
see
to
the
your
Work and
strongest excuse.
Wander Zurich edition, and
At the
just
end of the
see the
day,
whole
it's
thing
not only
unfold.
about
But I
talent,
avoid complicated setups
it's
as a
about
whole.
refusal.
And at the end of the day, a
Refusal
tripod
to
is a
quit,
great thing
refusal
tool to
to burn
have,
out,
and you want to get the ones that don't have
refusal
like
to give
all
in
those
to
bulky
your strongest
features. I know
excuse.
there's some that have lights and stuff like that,
At the end of
and
the
that's
day,
cool and everything, but I honestly just like a tripod that looks like this, very sleek. There's no nicks that will happen here. It's just very smooth. Put it in my bag, take it out, and easy to set up. So think about those things. Again, if you want to get tapped into the tripod, reach out. We're actually in our manufacturing mode of designing one. So that's excited for my Work and Wonder members. You can definitely tap into this artifact that we're making. But let's get into the next slide. So don't interrupt the moment. Okay, if you're in a moment, don't just interrupt it with a camera. Like, oh, I gotta just stay in the moment. Take a few breaths. The camera is here to follow the experience, not replace it. Whatever experience you're having, if you feel like you're boring, so what? Be boring. My Work and Wander trips are literally hotels, working, walking around, eating by myself, going to a random networking event where I know nobody, maybe shaking a few hands, but more so gathering data on human interaction and the types of people around, and how people handle things. I really love people watching, to be honest. But outside of that, my Work and Wander trips are not like this big excursion. Maybe I'll take a boat on one trip, maybe I'll take a helicopter ride, but I'm not there to experience the space in that capacity. I'm there to get work done and experience the space at the same time, because I know working on our laptops in the same room, in the same environment, just working in general is so boring. It can get so boring, that repetition, and you don't want to give up. So what you do, support yourself, place yourself in a beautiful environment. The camera should always follow the experience, okay? That's how we're getting into content creation now. It's not about interrupting the moment, it's about following it with your camera. I'm literally here just like riding my bike. I'm like, I should like document this. And I did. Another one is when I'm just walking on an empty street. I was super shocked at how empty the streets were. I'm from Toronto and our streets look like this, but it's clean, it's empty here. Like, I just loved it so much. I need to capture it. And we got water fountains, and then we had an orchestra. I was literally walking outside again, watch my Work and Wonder series in Zurich, and I was like, to it, but bumped into this, and so it was so cool. So the key here is to be in the moment and allow moments to pass, then take your phone out to record the moment. This is how you take authentic content, and it will not only create a positive experience, but you'll be different. You'll have different views, different energy putting into the content. And I know as humans, we know what this means, right? We know what this means. We can tell when a brand is fake and they're just there to do things. Like, we're craving authenticity. We're craving like the nuance of humanity, if that makes sense. We want to be human. We want to capture those moments. So don't overthink your content and how it's staged. Just record it, right? Just record it. And so after wandering, review what you captured. Often a few small clips tell a stronger story than hours of footage. I have, again, look at my Instagram where I created so much content from being locked up in a room in Erosa, Switzerland, literally there for 2 days. And I got so much content there. So let's get into AI. AI literacy is going to be embedded in every single course because we are in a new era and we are going to be prepared to be digital, right? And AI is digital. So we got to get to know what AI is. So artificial intelligence is something like I describe as medicine versus the stethoscope. And the stethoscope is that thing, that medical tool that you put in your ear and then you listen to your heart, someone's heart with it. You know, you ever see that? So, medicine is the discipline, the stethoscope is the instrument, and doctors use inside that discipline. Okay. That is what AI is. That is what generative artificial is. Generative AI is the category that creates new content, and it looks like ChatGPT or large models that kind of just help us to create content as a whole. And so when you say AI is writing content, what we're really actually using is a language model designed to help us structure and generate text. Okay. So that text is, think of the text like the medicine. So the medicine is a text, the disciplines, everything that encompasses that thing is the text. And the stethoscope is the instrument. And the stethoscope is the AI. Now the doctor doesn't, like, a stethoscope on its own isn't a tool that doesn't, it can't work, but the doctor knows how to use it really, really well. And that's ultimately where we want to be when it comes to AI literacy. When we want to be like a doctor, not to necessarily know how to build a human, right? Because that's what doctors work with, humans, health, but it's to use the tools in that industry to better the services that we offer. Does that make sense? I probably went on a little tangent there, but I really hope that that was clear for you. So let's talk about the work and wonder method when it comes to AI. So when I was traveling through Zurich, I noticed the experience and the environment first. I noticed what naturally grabbed my attention. And this is my ask for you today. Does this actually stand out for me? I want you to think about that. Does that actually stand out to me? Does this actually stand out? And if yes, capture it. If not, keep moving. But what you're going to do is you're going to eventually build your content based off of, does this stand out? Is this the brand? Is this the vision? Is this the experience? The more you ask that, does this stand out? Does this stand out? Then that's how you know that you should capture it. Does it mean you're going to use it? Maybe not. But 99% of the time, you're going to use it because I show you exactly how to do that in the other modules where we go deeper into the actual strategy, content to clients. And if you haven't purchased that yet, definitely tap into that. So let's talk about it. So this is the method. We're going to recap this. The experience is you're wandering. I want you to notice something that catches your attention. And then I want you to ask yourself, does this stand out? And if it does, you take a picture. And if it doesn't, you keep wandering. That's literally the method. I'm going to repeat again because it's so simple. You are wandering around, you see something that notices, that catches your attention. You ask yourself, does this stand out? Is this the brand? Yes, take it. No, keep moving. You don't need to record everything. You only need to capture what genuinely stands out. That's the goal here. So now that you know exactly what that looks like, because you're going to trust your feelings, you're going to trust the vision that you have, you're going to trust your ideas, right? And don't be wrong with me. Like, you can do a trend. If a trend aligns with your brand, do it. there's a trend that I actually want to be a part of, which is like saying a word in every single different country. And when you play it back, it like creates a sentence or like a story. I thought that was so cool. I saw that one time, like, I really want to do that. But participate. It's okay. There's no shame in it. Just don't get caught up in that identity. Your new identity is you're going to wander, you're going to notice something, you're going to ask yourself, does this align? Does this stand out? And you're going to capture it. And then when you're capturing it, you're going to answer a question that your clients have, right? This is the formula. It's a strategy that like sells and builds evergreen content over and over again. So now that we have the structure, this is where the real questions come out. Someone finds one post and then another, then another. By the time they reach out, they already understand your work. The conversation shifts from explanation to alignment. Like, when do you want to start? When do you want to buy? How soon do you want to ship? That's the conversations you're going to be having. When content answers real questions and explains a problem clearly, people start to understand your work. That's how content begins to pre-sell before conversations ever happens. So the AI structured content that can be built to last and be built to create trust, every post should do one simple job: name the problem, share the insight, show the shift. That is the strategy of the text, right? That is the script that you say. The actual content, when you go wandering, you're going to see, does this feel like my vibe? Does this feel like my brand? You put your camera there, you do whatever you got to do. Stay on the computer, I don't know, jump around, whatever your brand is. Honestly, I tend to take just pictures of me, videos of me working on my laptop, because that's literally what I do for people as a service, is create blueprints and plans and strategies and follow up and message and meet on calls and plan photo shoots and plan their websites, do so much things. So I'm always on my laptop. So that's where my content comes from, right? And that's ultimately what you're doing as well. This is what this course is for people who work on their laptops and they want to change how they generate content, not from like simple, boring AI posts or the mundane fundamentals of the past, but the new world, right? And so we're here to create moments, and we're also here to start noticing them. A lot of people, they go out traveling and they really just miss that mark. And this is your mark. This is what's going to set you apart from everyone. Travel content doesn't need to be manufactured. Work when it's time to work, wander when it's time to wander, and capture the moments that actually stand out naturally. That's authentic content is created. So work first, wander freely, capture what stands out. Okay, so here's what you're going to try this week. You're going to try three simple actions. You're going to identify three questions clients ask, like we talked about earlier. You're going to turn each one into one piece of content because you have the structure. Go back to the structure shot slide, it will help you out. And then you're going to focus on clarity, not 100 posts. You're going to focus on one solid one that's super clear, super strong. You'll be surprised how quickly your content and client acquisitions change. So the goal of content is not engagement, okay? It's clarity that helps someone decide. Do you ever notice, like, you don't leave reviews when you actually have a good time somewhere? You move on because you had a good time. Not a lot of people leave reviews. People actually leave reviews when they're really, really angry. So that means that they're like, well, you know what? Since I don't have clarity, I'm just gonna continue on this loop I just got in. I'm going to leave a bad review. I'm going to tell them how horrible their service is. But if you don't want that, of course we don't, right? We want to remove uncertainty. We want them to move forward naturally. They want them to trust you, right? You want them to trust you, just like a human to human interaction. They actually have a good vibe about you. So if you're ready to turn your content into real client decisions without posting more, then you're going to want to go deeper into from content to clients, okay? This is a full masterclass suite. This is going to be extremely in depth and give you a super simple, clear path to start. Because I am just over the frameworks of all like these lists and these stuff and then getting paralyzed with what decisions you should make. This is going to be a simple course, but very, very beneficial. This is for someone that is really ready to create one offer and sell it over and over and over and over again. And by the time you reach out, by the time you're posting, they reach out, they understand your work. You don't need to go back and forth. The conversation shifts from, again, explanation to alignment. And this is what I want for you all. And so I see you guys in the chat. You're asking where to get it. So you can get this on houseofgold.com from the library. This is content from content to client. And then you could also get the workbook on Amazon. But again, if you want the full entry to the suite, because honestly, that's the easiest way, just go to the site, download the full course from the website from content to client. And guess what? You're going to actually get more courses available, more support available than what you have now, because I'm in my beginning stages of building this. And so this is something that is going to expand. So even if you see this now and it's in the future, in the past, wherever you are, time traveler, definitely just tap in, because this is evergreen content. This is not for trends. This is not for anything. This is the human side of content creation and really just being a human again, right? That's what we want to be. So I want to leave you with this all today. Thank you so much for joining me. I see your comments. I'm going to read them after. I just want to get through this because we did go a little bit over. But good content gets attention. Structured content gets decisions. Okay. So instead of asking, what should I post today? A better question is, what question does my audience still have before they can say yes? That is what your script is going to be about. And the actual content is going to be the environments that you're in that you just so to happen to document, right? It's very simple. And I truly see this supporting you and just making travel content more easier. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are. We also offer travel services as well, planning, advising you. So reach out to concierge at houseofgold.com. This is where we grow magnetic brands and refining magnetic minds for the next era. Until then, you take care.